Hey everybody, it's Jason, Jay's Project Garage. Like I said in my first video, I'm just going to do a walk around and show you some of the projects we got and let you know what some of the plans are and what we're going to do with them on the channel.
Just a few of the engines and cylinder heads and stuff we got laying around. 400 small block Chevy with plate caps. That actually came out of a dirt late model. I think it's a 391, but I'm going to check the stroke on the crank and find out for sure. It's got a set of H-beam rods and dome pistons, and I got a reduced base circle solid roller, and just try to find a set of cylinder heads. That'll probably wind up with in the G body I was talking about in the first video. This is a 95 351 Windsor. Came out of an F250. It's a roller motor. I think we're going to put it in my 91 GT. Son and I are wanting to build a car for Power Tour, so that's probably where that one's going to wind up. Here we are in the back of the shop. This is the 91 GT I was just talking about. Minor collision damage in the front where somebody tried grabbing a hold of the core support and pulling it around, and it bent the whole front end. So I'm going to we're going to do a makeshift frame rack here in the shop so I can pull the front end back straight. But I've got a Motion Raceworks lower radiator support coming for it. I've got a whole bunch of parts. I think we're going to go through the T5, put a billet cluster support and other stuff in it. So if you guys want to see a video on that, I'll do it. Everything's kind of a mess back here right now because we just shoved everything in here for the winter. This is the 390 FE for the 69. We're going to tear it apart, make sure everything's okay with it. It was rebuilt, supposedly. The only runtime it's got on is just the cam break-in. So we're just going to make sure everything's cool before we put it back in the car. Here is the Olds 350 I was talking about. I have no idea how long it sat around, but I've had it for about 4 years. That's the Ford single overhead cam, 4 liter. There's the 200 straight 6. Blast cabin I just got last year. I got to put a new motor in the dust collector. There's the air compressor I use. It's a 4-stage Quincy. I got it from a guy that did industrial maintenance. He went through and I don't remember what kind of tank it was, but it's a Quincy pump, and he switched it over to single phase. The thing works awesome. It runs at like half the speed of a normal compressor, so it's super quiet. 2017 Ranger 900. If you guys want to see some stuff about it on the channel, we can do that too. There's my 65 coupe. Got it from a buddy of mine. Sat out in a field forever. 70 sports roof. There's a few of the small block Chevys. That's a 66 289. It's actually a 66 short block with 65 top end. So I'm going to pull the date codes on it and see if it was born that way, or if somebody hodgepodged it together. But it's got a 4-barrel intake and stuff on it. There's a few more to the engines. There's a bunch of my Ford blocks. There's some complete engines back there. There's the 31 Model A. And my kids show chickens in 4-H, so we brought a whole bunch of them into the shop for the winter, keep them from freezing.
And that's about that for what's in the shop. The boat's sitting outside under cover. When it warms up a little bit, we'll go out and take a look at it. And then the 51 Ford cab over, same deal. It's pretty cold here in Indiana. We just got I think we got 9.5 inches of snow here. Just finally got dug out. But it's going to be a minute before I can get back and show you all the other stuff. The 65 coupe, when I was mid to early 20s, I've had probably 65, 70 Mustangs. I mean, I've had a bunch of them. But when I was in my mid 20s, I had a 66 coupe, originally a 6-cylinder car, and I had bought a couple of Capris, and one of them had a 30 over 302 in it. When I'm pulling the engine out, put a set of forged pistons in it. I think it was a 72 block. Put a set of 68 J-code 4-barrel heads on it. Had a Performer RPM. Had an Urson cam in it. Had a 600 Holly. and we put that in the 66 with a C4, and the car went I think 890s. In the 8th, I thought the thing felt fast for the time, you know. Wound up putting a 3000 stall in it, bought a Hughes converter, had the C4 gone through, but still had the 6-cylinder rear end in it. Took my buddy for a ride, and he could not believe the difference the thing made, but I never got back to the track with it to see how much it helped. But you know, at the time, I kept throwing out, oh, this thing's got to make, you know, 350 horsepower or something. It just feels super fast. And I had had fast cars before. I had a 70 Mustang that ran, you know, 11 flats with a Cleveland in it, and that was late 80s, early 90s. That was cooking for a street car. But that's kind of what I was talking about in the first video, where everybody's got a story about, you know, some engine they had that this set the world on fire, and it wasn't really anything special. And that's why I wanted to revisit it. I want to put the exact same combo together again. I want to put it in the 65, and I want to take it to the track and see what it does. And I always kept telling myself that, man, that thing was just a good set of cylinder heads away from being a really awesome car, and put a gear in it. That would help a ton too. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got an 8.8 of an Explorer. It's a 411 traction lock, 31 spline, disc brakes. So we're going to put that underneath the car, and like I said, we're going to put that same engine combination together again. I'm going to take it to the track first to see what it does, and then start adding stuff to see what kind of improvements we can get. And I think that'd just be a fun project for me, and it'd be a fun one to put on the channel. I've got a set of 69 351 Windsor heads that I'm about halfway done porting. We're going to see what happens with those. And I've got I've got a 30 over 306. It's a roller motor, so we'll probably start with it. That way I can upgrade it, and it'll be a hell of a lot cheaper as far as roller cam stuff goes. And then, I don't know, we're just going to try a whole bunch of different stuff with it, see what happens. The 91 GT is going to be, like I said, it's going to be a power tour car. My son and I are going to build this 351. I want to inject it, but honestly, you know, by the time you buy a standalone and try to find the right EFI intake and everything for it for a street car, it's going to get pretty expensive. So I went ahead and bought a carburetor. It's a Holley 750. I'm going to find an intake for it. I'm going to try to find a set of heads. I've already got the headers, and I've got a bunch of stuff for it. But we're going to throw it together. I'm going to go through the T5. I'm going to put it in the car, and he and I are just going to go on power tour. It's something that he and I have been wanting to do for a couple of years now. I just think it'd be fun. And it may evolve into something else. Who knows? I'd like to EFI it and put a turbo on it. Don't really have any super solid plans for the 70. I've actually been toying with the idea of selling it. The floor and everything's been cut out of it. It was on a chassis, tube chassis. It was a drag car. Somebody took the chassis up underneath it, I think put it under a Chevy too or something, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Kind of toying with the idea of taking an SN95 floor pan and grafting it into the car, because then the sky's the limit. I mean, parts availability, there's just a ton of more stuff. Suspension wise, cheaper anyway for Fox chassis cars. So I don't know. Let me know what you want me to do with it. And on the Olds 350, let me know if you want me to put it on a run stand and try to fire the thing up before I tear it apart, or if you just want to see it torn apart and see what it looks like before we do anything with it. I haven't even tried turning that engine. I mean, it could be stuck for all I know. I don't know. Let me know. Leave it in the comments down below. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you next week.